India, which is 1% rather than 2.5%, which we are observing. So there has been no consistency, no continuity, and no commitment in order to take those measures which were necessary in order to curtail this population growth. And the causal relationship between sustained economic growth and population and high living standards is very clear. The higher is the fertility rates, the lesser is the capital per worker. And when you have less capital per worker, you have lower productivity. And all of you know that growth over long term is a function of labor supply and labor productivity. So, and total factor productivity. So if the productivity is not rising, your growth rate will be very low. So I made a calculation that if Pakistan's per capita income, if we had followed the population growth rate, was I took an assumption that if Pakistan's population growth was 1.8%, not even 2.5%, over this period of time, our population, our economic size would remaining the same. Our per capita income would not have been $1,400, $1,500, but it was $2,100. So the living standards would have been higher. The revenue generated from the government, which is a higher level of standards, would be quite high, as well as the expenditure capacity on education, health, social protection, drinking water supply, sewerage, sanitation, which are the correlates of very important population control or population curtailment, would be higher than what we have been spending. The second point I want to make is that it is not just the money alone which is responsible for the predicament we are. It is the institutional fragmentation as far as the population subject is concerned in Pakistan. Population requires a multi-sectoral, multidisciplinary, all hands on the deck approach, where the federal government, the provincial governments, the private sector, and the NGOs and the community organizations, they all work together hand to hand for a particular goal. Here we have so much of fragmentation. The health ministries don't talk to the population ministry. The population ministry have their own lady health population workers. The lady health workers of the health department, they are in the same villages. We have fragmentation of institutions. And therefore, there is no concerted effort that these are all working in silos. And there's no community involvement. So unless we devolve the population not only from the provinces, but to the local government level, where the communities take the decisions as to what the measures which have to be taken, and they know their situation best, this will not really make any dent as far as the population growth is concerned. And my third point, which I want to emphasize, is that the present National Finance Commission award criteria and also the representation based on population give an incentive for exaggeration and inflation of population count. I have been a witness in very high-powered meetings where one political party said we would boycott the election, the census results, if the final count of my district is not X. So what is the message? That the more you exaggerate, inflate the numbers, the better you would be, because 82%, first it was 100%, now it is 82% of the NFC award is based on population. India has succeeded in coming to grips with this problem. They froze their population of the 1971 census for 5 decades, and also the representation. And they introduced a demographic dividend in there. So the southern states today in India have reduced their total fertility rates, their infant mortality rates, their maternal mortality rates, while they have exceeded the North India as far as the per capita incomes are concerned. So they are best of both the worlds. They are curtailing their population, but at the same time, they are increasing their living standards. So we have to think about how much weight we should give to the population in a country where backwardness, poverty, regional income disparities, gender differentials are so predominant. Do we go for equity-based award of the NFC, or do we go for needs-based award? Needs-based award is based on population, while equity-based is on multiple criteria where the backwardness, the regional disparities, the demographic dividend, the climate change, these are also factored into the criteria for the award among the provinces. These are the 3 important points which I thought I would share with you, and I hope that we will not just have the end of this conversation, which has started yesterday, but there will be a follow-up. And I am quite happy that one of very stars of the civil service, Yaqoob Sheikh, whom I know for a long time, is now Secretary Health. And he's a doer. And I always have argued that the Education Ministry, the Health Ministry, the Poverty Alleviation Ministries, they should be manned or womaned by the best and the brightest of the civil servants, not the finance, not economic affairs, not planning. So I'm very happy that a former finance secretary, former chairman, is now in the health ministry, and he would actually take the lead in order to set the ball rolling. Thank you very much.
I would now like to invite Yaqoob Sheikh to please come to the podium to deliver his address. Thank you.
Dr. Ishrat Saab, distinguished guests, members of the academia, media, civil society organizations, development partners, Assalamu alaikum. Dr. Ishrat has put a lot of burden on my shoulders. Sir, I will try whatever is best possible within the scope of my mandate. It is a great honor for me to address this August gathering arranged for a national cause. I would like to appreciate Dawn Group for taking the lead and all partner organizations for supporting this event to discuss perhaps the most critical issue of the country, that is population. The last 2 days' discussion and deliberations have helped crystallize common understanding of the issues, and there are several issues. Some of them have been highlighted by Dr. Ishrat. I am sure there is agreement that population stabilization is central to Pakistan's economic growth, social development, and future prosperity. I thank all development partners, organizations, speakers, panelists, and participants for their valuable contributions during these 2 days. And as Dr. Ishrat Saab has also advised, We would also look forward to follow up on these deliberations and hope that these deliberations would help further refine our strategies and policies. Ladies and gentlemen, you know very well the global population has surged from 1.6 billion in 1900 to over 8 billion in just over a century. This is a trend which is mirrored dramatically within our borders. Pakistan's population, which was around 34 million at the time of independence, has now increased to more than 257 million. This rapid expansion places immense strain on our resources. With the highest fertility rate in the region at 3.6, we add close to 6.8 million people annually, which is close to the population of New Zealand, Bulgaria, or Gujranwala district. This gives you the scale of the challenge that we face in terms of resource allocation. Pakistan today stands at a critical and challenging demographic juncture. Our population continues to grow at 2.55% annually, outpacing our ability to expand essential services and sustainable resources. This imbalance is affecting every aspect of national development: our education system, our food security, water security, employment opportunities, urban planning, and most critically, our health sector, which is under severe stress. This is not a sustainable situation and requires coordinated response and swift and effective response. Within the population sector, then there are profound equity challenges that create stark disparities in access to information and services, disproportionately impacting the most vulnerable, which obviously affect women in particular. And women with low levels of education in rural areas often lack the autonomy to make decisions about their reproductive health due to deeply entrenched societal and gender norms. Furthermore, access to family planning and reproductive health care is heavily stratified by geography and socioeconomic status, with poor residents of remote regions and urban slum dwellers consistently facing lack of available facilities, trained female staff, in addition to inconsistent supply of contraceptives, even where demand exists. This inequity not only violates fundamental rights, it also perpetuates a cycle of poverty and high fertility, as those with the least resources are systematically denied the tools to plan their families and futures. Ladies and gentlemen, population is not only a challenge, it is also a tremendous opportunity as well, if managed wisely, as has been discussed earlier. The goal is to align demographic trends with our economic capacity, social priorities, economic sustainability. Achieving population balance or tawazun is essential for Pakistan's long-term stability, prosperity, and resilience. The subject of population has seen many changes, as Ishrat Saab also pointed out, not just with the constitutional amendment, but also with the changing mandates of different ministries at the federal level. Lack of consistency has been a hallmark of this subject. For better coordination, Ministry of National Health, Resources and Coordination developed National Action Plan for 2019 to 24 through a consultative process involving national and provincial stakeholders. However, the National Action Plan, as most of you already are aware, the performance was lackluster, essentially due to lack of funding, COVID, inconsistent supply of contraceptives, supply disruptions, apart from the major challenge of coordination among stakeholders, which is national and provincial stakeholders. I'm happy to inform that this August House that this Ministry of National Health Services has been working to address these issues in the revised National Action Plan for 25-30. This action plan has been developed over several months and in consultation with national and provincial stakeholders. I'll not talk too much about the National Action Plan because this is yet to be approved by the Federal Task Force. But in addition to this action plan, there's some recent strategic developments which I would like to highlight. Since the government merged the subject of population with health, the population is integrated across the health sector policies and programs. This is formalized in the forthcoming National Health and Population Policy as well. The Federal Task Force on Population has been dormant for some time now. The Prime Minister has been requested to now chair a special meeting of the task force so that we can reinvigorate the process and we can restart the process of coordination at the highest level and the allocation of resources for this important area. Thirdly, due to efforts of several people and organizations to promote contraceptive use, Prime Minister has recently given a directive for exemption of sales tax on contraceptives, which is 18%. We are pursuing implementation of this directive because we are aware there is a large unmet need of contraceptives as well. Finally, Prime Minister has constituted a high-level committee under the leadership of Minister of Planning, which comprises experts. You've learnt about them from Musharraf Zaidi a while ago. These are experts including Dr. Zeba Sitar, who have lifelong experience in the field. The committee has been meeting regularly and is formulating a plan of action for this important area. Despite these recent developments, the most important challenge is the provision of integrated essential package of health services with the ability of essential medicines and contraceptives to the population with least financial burden on the people. According to recent estimates, only 54.7% of the population is covered for essential health and population services in 2024, against a target of more than 80%, so 30% gap. Excellencies, this ministry has been working on developing a national health and population policy 26 to 35. The policy aims to address the issue of fragmentation highlighted earlier and provide a practical, evidence-based and action-oriented roadmap to realize a new vision. Population is a cross-cutting issue across the 11 priority areas in the National Health and Population Policy and a priority area for next 10 years. The new policy will commit not only to enhance uptake and ensure universal access to family planning services, adopt gender-responsive workforce policies, and building partnerships with the private sector. The new policy will chart a clear path towards a healthier, more empowered and resilient population, reflecting our national commitment to demographic resilience, gender equality, and social justice. We should also learn from successful family planning models of other countries, including Bangladesh, Indonesia, Iran, and Turkey. In Pakistan, we have successfully implemented the Lady Health Workers Program, which Dr. Ishrat talked about. There is a need to ensure and revitalize integrated health and family planning services at the doorstep of community through a similar or the same program or similar initiative. We also need to leverage available platforms internationally like the SDGs, PPD, Family Planning 2030, and others for guidance and for delivery of services. In summary, population management is the national priority requiring coordinated federal and provincial actions. We should focus on operationalizing the coordination mechanisms, ensuring enhanced financing for integrated family planning and health services, and fostering joint planning and monitoring. On behalf of the ministry, I assure all the participants that all action points of the declaration of this summit will be incorporated in the revised National Action Plan on Population 2530. Provinces and regions will be engaged to ensure ownership and nationwide alignment. In the end, I would like to thank Dawn Media, international development partners, especially Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office, Population Council, especially Dr. Zeba Sitar, and each of the participants who have contributed to this national dialogue and helped make Pakistan Population Summit 2025 a success. Together, we can ensure a stable, prosperous, and sustainable future to the people of Pakistan. Thank you very much.
काम बढ़ गया।
Rahim and Assalamu alaikum. Pakistan stands as a defining moment as the world's fifth most populous country with over 241 million people. Our demographic trends are shaping every aspect of our future. Our annual population growth rate of 2.55%, the highest in South Asia, adds well over 5 million people each year. Sindh, as one of Pakistan's most dynamic provinces, feels this pressure keenly. Our growing population is a national strength, but it brings profound challenges. Today, around 40% of our children under 5 are stunted, and an estimated 22 to 26 million children aged 5 to 16 remain out of school. At the same time, our country is among the world's most water stressed, threatening our agriculture, cities, and long-term sustainability. These realities demand urgent and coordinated action. The government of Sindh recognizes that achieving population balance is central to our social and economic progress. Our strategy is comprehensive and forward-looking. First, we are focused on expanding economic opportunity. A growing population requires a growing economy. Sindh is working to create a job-rich environment by supporting industry, agriculture, services, and new technology sectors. Through skill development and investment facilitation, we aim to assure that Sindh plays its full role in meeting Pakistan's future employment needs. Second, education and health are at the heart of our population policy. We will prioritize universal access to quality schooling and accelerate enrollment while strengthening maternal and child health, especially nutrition, to reduce malnutrition and stunting. Integrating family planning and reproductive health information will empower families with informed, dignified choices. Third, environmental sustainability is essential for a stable population. Water scarcity is a challenge that Sindh cannot ignore. We are investing in modern irrigation, water conservation, and protection of the Indus River ecosystem to secure our natural resources for future generations. Fourth, we will work closely with communities. Population balance requires social awareness, local participation, and partnerships with civil society, healthcare workers, and religious leaders. Our approach respects cultural values while embracing scientific evidence. Finally, we commit to data-driven governance. Sindh will adopt a modern monitoring, ensure transparency, and adopt policies as demographic realities evolve. Population balance is not merely a policy ambition. It is essentially for a prosperous, healthy, and sustainable Sindh. Together, we can transform demographic pressures into engines of opportunity and ensure a future where every child is nourished, every family is empowered, and every citizen has a chance to thrive. Thank you.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम इय्याका नअबुदु व इय्याका नस्तईन अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू। मैं डॉन मीडिया ग्रुप को कामयाब प्रोग्राम के इनकाद पर मुबारकबाद पेश करता हूँ। आज का मौजू द पाकिस्तान पॉपुलेशन समिट 2025 ये भी इंतहाई अहम काविश है और एक दरपेश मसला है पाकिस्तान को। इससे पहले डॉन मीडिया ग्रुप ने ब्रीथ पाकिस्तान जो हमारा क्लाइमेट चेंज का मसला है उस पर भी एक बेहतरीन प्रोग्राम का इनकाद किया था और ये काविश खुशाइन है। हम खराज तहसीन पेश करते हैं डॉन मीडिया ग्रुप को। आबादी का मसला पाकिस्तान में तो है ही, लेकिन मैं आज अपना मुकदमा जो है वो चूँकि मैं वज़ीर-ए-आला खैबर पख्तूनख्वा हूँ तो मैं अपने खैबर पख्तूनख्वा का मुकदमा तमाम हाज़िरीन महफ़िल के सामने रखूँगा या मुझे जो देख रहे हैं उनके सामने रखूँगा। आबादी को लोग जो हैं वो कर्ज समझते हैं, लेकिन मेरी नज़र में आबादी ब्लेसिंग है। اگر آپ جو ہیں آپ کا مقصد انسانوں میں انویسٹ کرنا ہو، انسانوں کو جو ہیں وہ ترجیحی بنیادوں پر ان کی بیسک ضروریات دینی ہو، ان کے جو بنیادی حقوق ہیں، تعلیم ہے، صحت ہے، ہمارا جو ہیومن کیپٹل ہے اس کو امپروو کرنا ہو، ہیومن ڈیولپمنٹ کو امپروو کرنا ہو، اس طرح سے جو باقی ہمارے انسانی حقوق ہیں وہ دینا ہو، تو پھر جو ہے پاپولیشن آپ کی بلیسنگ بن جاتی ہے۔ لیکن پاکستان میں مسئلہ یہ ہے کہ ہمارا جو ہے وتیرہ رہا ہے کہ ہم نے ہمیشہ آنے والے الیکشن کا ہی سوچا ہے، کبھی بھی آنے والے جنریشن کا نہیں سوچا۔ ہماری انویسٹمنٹ ہمیشہ سیاسی فائدوں کے لیے ہوئی ہے، جو ذاتی مفاد ہیں ان کو ہم نے پاکستان سے اوپر رکھا ہے، تو اس وجہ سے جو ہے ہم مسائل میں پنسے ہوئے ہیں۔ خیبر پختونخوا کی اگزامپل لے لیں، ہم نے یہاں عمران خان صاحب کی ویژن کے مطابق انسانوں میں انویسٹ کرنا شروع کیا ہے۔ ہم نے یہاں پر عمران خان صاحب کی ویژن کے مطابق صحت کارڈ تمام خیبر پختونخوا کی عوام کے لیے جاری کیا ہوا ہے، جس میں تقریباً 4.5 کروڑ لوگ خیبر پختونخوا کا مفت علاج ان کا ہو رہا ہے۔ اسی طرح جو ہے میں نے اعلان کیا ہے کہ ہماری جو حاملہ خواتین ہیں ان کو پہلے دن سے ہی تمام تر علاج ان کا فری ہوگا، اور جب ان کی بچی پیدا ہوگی تو اس کا علاج بھی جو ہے اس کے 3 مہینے تک صوبہ خیبر پختونخوا کی حکومت ان کی دیکھ بھال کرے گی۔ اسی طرح جو ہے ہم نے تعلیم کارڈ کا اجرا کیا، اسی طرح ہم نے کل احساس امید کارڈ کا، جس میں 10,000 معذور افراد کو 5,000 روپے دیے جائیں گے، روشن مستقبل کارڈ، باقی جو ہماری پناہ گاہیں ہیں، ہماری احساس کفالت پروگرام ہیں، کوئی بھوکا نہ سوئے، یہ تمام جو عمران خان صاحب کے احساس پروگرام کے ویژن کے مطابق ہو رہا ہے، تو یہ انسانوں میں انویسٹ کرنا ہے، اور یہ انویسٹمنٹ جو ہے آپ کو پھر فائدہ دیتی ہے، آپ کی صوبے کو بھی فائدہ دیتی ہے، آپ کے ملک کو بھی فائدہ دیتی ہے۔ تو ہم نے اپنے لوگوں کے فیوچر میں انویسٹ کرنا ہے، ہم نے صحت میں، ایجوکیشن میں، اسی طرح جو ہے کلائمیٹ چینج میں، اسی طرح ہمارا جو بلین ٹری سونامی تھا عمران خان کا، وہ بھی جو ہے ہمارے بچوں کا مستقبل ہے، اس سے جو ہے پاکستان کو، صرف خیبر پختونخوا کو نہیں بلکہ پورے پاکستان کو فائدہ ہوگا۔ جس طرح ہم ڈیمز بنا رہے ہیں خیبر پختونخوا میں، تو یہ جو ہیں یہ سارے ہمارے آبادی کو فائدہ دے گی۔ تو اس طرح کی انویسٹمنٹ سے جو ہیں آپ کو پھر آبادی جو ہے وہ بوجھ نہیں لگے گی، بلکہ وہ آپ کو جو ہے اس کا بدلہ دے گی، اس کا آؤٹ پٹ دے گی۔ لیکن بدقسمتی سے خیبر پختونخوا سے ہمیشہ زیادتی کی گئی ہے، جس طرح کہ ہم خیبر پختونخوا میں مرج اضلاع کو شامل کیا گیا 2018 میں 25ویں آئینی ترمیم کے ذریعے، لیکن ان کو تو انتظامی طور پر شامل کیا گیا، 50 سے 60 لاکھ لوگ خیبر پختونخوا میں شامل ہوئے، لیکن ان کو فائنینشلی طور پر شامل نہیں کیا گیا۔ ہم نہ ہی NFC میں اپنا شیئر دیا جا رہا ہے، جو تقریباً 1,350 ارب روپے سے زیادہ بن رہا ہے۔ ہمیں جو ہمارا نیٹ ہائیڈل پروفٹ ہے، ہم پاکستان کو فائدہ دے رہے ہیں، پاکستان کو جو ہے سستی بجلی دے رہے ہیں، اور اس کی مد میں نیٹ ہائیڈل پروفٹ کی مد میں ہمارا 2,200 ارب روپے وفاق بقایا ہے، اور یہ واجب الادا رقم ہے جو ہمیں دینی ہے، لیکن وہ نہیں دے رہا۔ اسی طرح سے جو ہمارے مرج اضلاع کے ساتھ جو ہمارے ضم اضلاع ہیں، تو اس کے ضم کے دوران ان لوگوں سے وعدہ کیا گیا تھا کہ 100 بلین سالانہ ہم آپ کو دیں گے، لیکن وہ وفاق ہمیں نہیں دے رہا۔ تو ایک طرف تو ہم پاکستان کے فائدے کے لیے، اپنی عوام کے فائدے کے لیے فیوچر انویسٹمنٹ کر رہے ہیں، چاہے وہ فارسٹری میں ہو، چاہے وہ ہائیڈرو ہمارے جو پروجیکٹس ہیں اس میں ہو، اسی طرح جو ہے صحت میں ہو، ایجوکیشن میں ہو، لیکن اپنے محدود وسائل میں ہم تمام اپنے یہ مسائل حل کر رہے ہیں۔ دوسری طرف جو ہیں وفاق ہمیں 3,000 ارب روپے سے جو زیادہ ہے وہ نہیں دے رہے ہیں۔ اگر یہ ہمیں مل جاتا تو جس طرح جو ہے اس کم وسائل میں ہم اپنے لوگوں کا فلاح و بہبود کے لیے کام کر رہے ہیں، تو ہم انشاءاللہ اس سے زیادہ کریں گے۔ لیکن انشاءاللہ امید ہے کہ جو 4 دسمبر کو NFC کی میٹنگ آ رہی ہے، تو اس میں وفاق جو ہے اس کے بارے میں سوچے گا، اور امید ہے کہ جو مرج اضلاع کا शेयर है वो खैबर पख्तूनख्वा को देगा और इंशाअल्लाह ताला बहुत जल्द जो है वो हमें मिल जाएगा। इसके साथ साथ मैं गुजारिश करता हूँ अपनी वफाकी हुकूमत से कि आपने अगले इलेक्शन का नहीं सोचना, आप अपने अगले जनरेशन का सोचें। आप जो हैं ज़ाती मफाद के लिए या जो हैं आने वाले इलेक्शन के लिए सियासी फ़ायदों के लिए इन्वेस्ट ना करें, आप इंसानों में इन्वेस्ट करें तो आपको जो है फिर पॉपुलेशन ब्लेसिंग नज़र आएगी, ये आपको कर्ज नज़र नहीं आएगा। मैं तमाम दोस्तों का, तमाम हाज़िरीन महफ़िल का एक दफ़ा फिर शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ और डॉन मीडिया ग्रुप का भी शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ कि उन्होंने मुझे दावत दी। बहुत शुक्रिया। वमा अलैना इल्लल बलाग।
I would now like to invite Dr. Ishrat Husain to come and say the closing remarks for the session. Thanks.
I don't think I'll take much of your time because you had very rich discussion during the last 1.5 days. I would only like to end by saying that there is a very good quotation about what gender has done. And I would like, where is my memory? And I have seen this personally in Bangladesh. When I was writing my book on Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, I witnessed that. The government was not really so effective as far as human capital initiatives were concerned. It was the effort of NGOs like BRAC, Asha, and Professor Yunus's own Grameen Bank, which played a very important role. And all of them focused on women. And what you have seen today, which I have seen personally, is how much a female agency in Bangladesh has produced collateral benefits. She is able to educate her children in the best schools. She is able to take preventive measures like immunization, vaccination, in order to keep the children in good health. Her own domestic home environment is neat and clean. She wants clean and drinkable water supply. And these are the benefits which are not captured when you just take the female education or female labor force participation rates. As an economist, we look at the return on investment. So my theory is that when you're looking at the returns on investment, you take all the direct and indirect benefits of educating a girl. And that will be the highest rate of return compared to any one of the investments. So this is what I wanted to close by telling you. Gender equality means ensuring that all voices are heard. When women hold decision-making roles, they challenge the outdated biases and create new opportunities for others. Their presence in leadership positions inspire young women to pursue their ambitions and reinforces the idea that gender should never be a barrier to success. When women serve as mentors for the next generation, they pave the way for a more inclusive and equitable society. When boys grow up seeing their mothers, sisters, and female peers as equal in potential and ability, they carry that experience into adulthood, reshaping workplaces and expectations. So this is the message I wanted to convey to you. And I'm a witness to what I have observed in Bangladesh, where the formal female participation rate, I agree with Tahira Abdullah, I don't think she's here, that we have to count the unpaid labor which is provided by the women in the formal sector, but we don't do that. We have to impute value for that. But what I'm saying to you is that one single factor which really triggers, and you know the fertility rate has declined in Bangladesh. The growth rate, population growth rate is 1, and the replacement rate is 2. And therefore, they are in a very comfortable position. Therefore, their per capita income is higher than ours because their population is controlled to the extent that they can have a higher level of standards. So to the chief ministers and to the policymakers, my appeal is that you have to invest in the female education and allow them to participate in the labor force. I had occasion to had 2 institutions. State Bank of Pakistan, the top performers every year, because we had a performance ranking, were girls. And in IBA, out of 10 dean's list every year, 8 to 9 were girls. So you have an asset which is really a much precious asset, which is more productive asset, which is a more efficient asset. And we are not utilizing that asset to the best of our ability. That's the message I wanted to leave with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ishrat Husain, for summing it up so well. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the Pakistan Population Summit 2025. We would like to thank our distinguished partners, speakers, panelists, and each one of you for your active participation in this national dialogue. Your insights, contributions are invaluable as we work together to shape Pakistan's population and development future. Thank you. You're now requested to join us for lunch, and the good news is that you don't have to have a deadline to come back in today, since all our sessions are over. Thank you.